Hello and welcome to our flip video lesson, Finding Sumer and Cities of Sumer. So there are two parts to this flip video lesson. Part one is all about finding Sumer. So your Human Odyssey reading pages 37 to 46, and then your student guide pages 47 to 50. And remember, this is just the first part of the lesson, so there will be two parts to the lesson. Complete your readings and your online lesson, and then facts about Sumerian life. So we're going to be talking all about Sumerian life. And here are all of the objectives for Unit 3. We have quite a few. Unit 3 is pretty big, but for the first part of this lesson, we're going to be talking about clues that helped archaeologists and historians document the existence of Sumer, and then we're going to identify methods and work of historians and archaeologists. So introduction. Just when the archaeologists and historians studying the ancient civilizations in Mesopotamia thought they had the answer, another clue would pop up. You've already read about the clues that led to the discovery of Sumer, but there were more. Cuneiform. Cuneiform comes from the Latin word cunos, which means wedge. And you can pause this video to take a look at this chart, which is really interesting to see how cuneiform has evolved throughout the centuries and throughout times. Cuneiform is a system of writing first developed by the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia. That C right here, that means circa, that means around or about, 3500 to 3000 BC or BCE. It is considered the most significant among many cultural contributions of the Sumerians. And so again, you can pause this video if you need to and take a look over on the right hand side there and look at all the different ways that they use art and pictures to describe words, because they didn't have a written language as we think of it now. Evidence of Sumerian existence. Archaeologists and historians have discovered and analyzed pottery and clay, city mounds, and ancient writings. Ancient Mesopotamia was built on top of earlier ancient cities. Archaeologists dug into the tells of southern Mesopotamia and found amazing discoveries. And we'll learn a little bit more about tells as you do your readings. So go ahead and open your student guide to page 49. And then this is an optional activity. You don't need to do it, but it certainly is something fun to do and something that will help with better understanding of the lesson. You can go ahead and look at who, what, who, what, and where. Answer those questions, and then you can fill in the answers from the word bank. So you can pause this video to go ahead and do that now, or you can do it after the video. That's fine as well. There we go. And then there are your answers. So you can go ahead and check your answers either if you pause the video and did it before, or if you're doing it later, you can come back to check your answers to see if you had them correct. And then another optional activity, turn to page 50 in your student guide. This is part 2. You can go ahead and imagine you're an archaeologist, and you can go ahead and kind of picture what maybe Sir Leonard Woolley went through and the discoveries that he made. And then again, here's an answer guide to that. And then please make sure you do remember to complete your readings for today. Remember, it's always important to have your readings done. It ties together the entire lesson. Pages 37 to 45, and this is just for part 1. Remember, there are 2 parts to this lesson. And just to kind of close up this part of the flip video, important vocabulary words to understand. Cuneiform is a Sumerian form of writing. Sir Leonard Woolley was a British archaeologist, best known for his excavations at Ur in Mesopotamia. An archaeologist is a person who studies human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. And then a clue is a piece of evidence or information. So those are all words that you will need to understand to be able to move through this lesson. And then our quote, to be able to fill leisure intelligently is the last product of civilization. And that was said by Arnold Toynbee. And then we're not ending this flip video. Like I said, there's 2 parts. So let's go ahead and move right on to the second part. This is part 2. Cities of Sumer. And again, you're reading pages, I'm not sure why this book keeps moving. There we go. You're reading pages 47 to 53 for this part of the lesson. Your student guide workbook pages 51 to 54. Again, you're completing your readings and completing your online lesson. And then this part of our flip video is about Sumerian culture. And for our learning objectives, describe key physical and governmental features of Sumerian cities, explain how Sumerians were able to irrigate their crops and grow a surplus of food, and then name 3 characteristics of culture. So an introduction to this part of the lesson. What is culture? Culture includes a people's traditions, language, religion, customs, government, and family structure. It also includes the everyday details of what the people wear and eat and how they work and play, their whole way of life. These characteristics reflect the society's experiences, resources, values, and habits. So go ahead and turn to page 53 in your student guide. And this goes directly along with questions 1, 2, and 3, and then the additional questions as we move through this flip video. So this is again on page 53 in your student guide. Question number 1, culture. Culture is a people's whole way of life. The things they do, their traditions, ideas, habits, customs, religion, education, art, and music. And then questions 2 and 3 are about flooding. The Sumerians learned to control the flooding of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers by building levees. They watered their fields in dry weather by irrigating with water from canals they hand dug. Sorry, a little typo there. That should be hand dug. Fix that real quick. There we go. And you can always pause this video. I know the video will go too quickly for you to write things down, but you can pause the video and fill them in as needed. Question number 4, division of labor. Division of labor means that workers do different jobs so they can produce more and better goods. And then questions 5 and 6, surplus. Surplus of food means people produce more food than they can consume. Since everybody did not have to devote all their time and energy to getting food, people came together, People came together in villages and towns to find work, sell their goods, store their grain, and bargain for food. Villages and towns grew into cities as more and more people gathered. Questions 7 and 8, houses and crops. Most houses were made of mud brick. Major crops included wheat and barley. And then questions 9 and 10, Sumerians began to trade and make improvements in transportation. Sumerians began to trade with other peoples because they lacked resources such as lumber and stone. They traded grain and cloth. They improved transportation with the invention of the wheel and discovered how to make sailboats. Question 11. Trade items evolved. The Sumerians first used barley for trade, but later switched to silver because barley was heavy and could spoil. It's a little smaller, I'm not sure why that got bigger there. There we go. 12, hierarchy in ancient Sumer. The small group who enjoyed the wealth and beauty of Sumer included governors, kings, priests, and scribes, and those were way up here at the top. They were a smaller group, but a more elite. And then here's some important vocabulary words to understand. Granary are storage areas for grain. Elected means voted to a position. Culture is a people's whole way of life, the things they do, their traditions, ideas, habits, customs, religion, education, art, and music. And then levee is a natural or artificial wall that blocks water from growing where we don't want it to go. From going where we don't want it to go. Water certainly does not grow. And then on your own optional activity, you can turn to page 54 and take a look at this document analysis, and you can fill that in. You can do this with your learning coach, or you can do this on your own. And then here we come to our quote section. A civilized society is one that exhibits the 5 qualities of truth: beauty, adventure, art, and peace. And that was said by Alfred North Whitehead. So your reading for this part of the lesson are pages 47 to 53. So again, it's super important to complete that reading. It ties everything together. And here we come to the end of our flip video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that was a little kind of rushed. We were trying to fit those 2 parts in one section. As I said, you can always pause this video and go back and fill in your student guide. Stay positive, stay fighting, stay brave, stay ambitious, stay focused, and stay strong. Have an amazing day. Thanks again for joining me.